What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Fantasy Forecast right here on FSAN. Last week, I broke down quarterback Fernando Mendoza, wide receiver Makai Lemon, and running back Jonah Coleman. Three prospects who could make an immediate splash for my fantasy managers. And the feedback I got, well, it was fantastic. So this week, I am back with another deep dive focusing on the next wave of rookies who could move the needle in your dynasty and redraft leagues for 2026. Every episode, I'll cut through the hype to give you actionable insights you can use immediately in your drafts and your start and sit decisions. Our focus isn't just long term projections. We're here to spotlight who will put points on the board for your fantasy rosters this season. We break down production, athletic traits, projected NFL roles, and usage potential, all from a redraft lens while keeping dynasty context in mind. This week, we're zeroing in on running back Jeremiyah Love, wide receiver Carnell Tate, and tight end Kenyon Sadiq. Three prospects with differing paths to the NFL, but equally intriguing with fantasy upside. From Love's explosive playmaking to Tate's crisp route running and contested catch prowess to Sadiq's potential game-changing plays in the passing game. These are the names you want on your radar for early to mid-round draft value. Stick around, take notes, keep your cheat sheets handy. FSAN has got your back with every projection, tape insight, and situational tip to give you a competitive edge in 2026. So let's get this party started with our first prospect. All right, I'm back, everybody. And our first prospect we're going to dive deep into here is Jeremiyah Love. And yeah, what a prospect he is and where he's come and where he's about to go. It's going to be an exciting journey for him. 6 foot, 204 pound, 14-pound running back. His ascent from state championship in high school to stand out to one of the, college football's most productive and dynamic backs is a blueprint for NFL readiness. A multi sport athlete from St. Louis, Love paired elite track speed with a strong high school production before bringing that explosiveness to Notre Dame, where he steadily increased his role before, and output by 2025. He established himself as the backbone of the Irish offense, finishing with 1,372 rushing yards, 18 touchdowns, 27 receptions for 280 yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns. A season that saw him win the Doak Walker Award as the nation's top running back and placed third in the Heisman Trophy voting. He joined the 2026 NFL Draft as arguably the most complete back in the class. On film, his ability to take over a game is undeniable. One of his best performances of the season came in Notre Dame's win against USC, 34-24, where he erupted for 228 yards and a touchdown, the most ever by a Fighting Irish player inside Notre Dame Stadium, showcasing elite combination of vision, burst, and contact balance in a solid mid-tier outing at Pitt. Love carried the ball 23 times for 147 yards and a score, and that is his mediocre game here, including a 56-yard touchdown run where he beat defenders with sudden spin moves that highlighted both agility and his breakaway ability. Even in his least productive game, Love was limited by scheme and defensive game plan, such as in the loss to Miami, where he struggled to find space and was held to a modest yardage, showing that his production can be dependent on the offensive rhythm and blocking execution. Across all film that I watched, Love consistently shows his playmaking instincts, trusting his vision and acceleration to turn those small scenes into big games. His strengths: elite explosive burst, top end speed. Love's track verified speed of 440. What a speed! His acceleration turned minimal space into home run plays, forcing defenders to account for his big play ability in every snap. He's got three down versatility. He's a threat as both a runner and a receiver, catching the ball with minimal effort, his natural hands, and turning short passes into significant yardage. He's got good contact, balance, and patience. Love sustains his legs through defenders and shows patience to wait for blocks, which consistently extends plays and creates that extra yardage. Some of the weaknesses I came across is that while he is a reliable receiver, he can struggle to consistently pick up blitzes or hold up against stronger edge rushers. An area for refinement at the next level would be his pass protection consistency. His frame and durability are concerns as well. At 214 pounds, Love's lean build raises questions about handling a full NFL workload across a season long without adding any functional weight. Route tree nuance, though effective in space, his routes can lack sophistication and complex passing concepts, especially when split out wide or asked to run sharp intermediate breaks. Comparison for Love often align him with a versatile modern backs who offer both big play potential and consistent production. His tape suggests a player who can be a bell cow in the right scheme, but only one whose value is elevated by his receiving chops and the ability to impact on all three downs. Love projects as a top 10 pick in the 2026 draft and is an RB1 candidate in both the NFL and fantasy formats, one who will deliver immediate value and long-term production in offenses that is built around spacing and tempo. Like I mentioned earlier, 1,300 rushing yards in 2025, ranked 4 nationally among FSB players, 18 rushing touchdowns, tied for second in the country, and a school season single mark. It's a huge accomplishment for him. 1,600 yards from scrimmage, 228 rushing yards versus USC, and at least 100 rushing yards in 11 games over 2 seasons, showcasing consistent big game production. Jeremiyah Love is a dynamic three down back whose rare blend of size, speed, vision, contact balance, and receiving ability make him an immediate impact player at the next level. I'm looking for him to be, the 101 in most rookie drafts, especially in one quarterback leagues. He doesn't just pile up yards, he forces defense to respect every carry before it even begins. So yeah, I'm really high on Jeremiyah Love, like the consensus is, and there's good reason for it, right? He's been an incredible college performer, and I'm looking forward to seeing where he lands and where his draft stock heads in the next little while. Now let's move on to our next prospect, and that is none other than Ohio State wide receiver Carnell Tate. He's been electric. He sits at 6'3", 195 pounds at 20 years old. His rise through elite recruiting ranks to one of college football's most technically gifted receivers has been a consistent after the catch percentage. A 5-star recruit from Chicago, Tate started early at Marist before transferring to IMG Academy and averaged 20 yards per catch as a senior, showing early signs of playmaking ability. At Ohio State, Tate contributed immediately as a true freshman and steadily climbed up the depth chart, finishing his junior season with 875 yards and 9 touchdowns, all while playing alongside other top target earners. He widely was regarded as one of the most refined route runners in this NFL class 2026, with a polished understanding of leverage and coverage manipulation. Watching Tate's 2025 tape reveals a receiver with a high football IQ and a knack for big plays. His best game of the season came in Ohio State's 42-3 win over Minnesota, where he posted 9 receptions, 183 yards, and a touchdown, the most receiving yards in a single game by a Buckeye in recent seasons, and a performance that drew national attention for how cleanly he separated and tracked the ball. In a solid middle performance, Tate was the key contributor with multiple receptions and consistent production in wins over top competition such as Texas and Michigan, including a 50-yard touchdown in the latter half that sealed the victory against Michigan. However, not all weeks were elite. In games where Ohio State leaned on a run-first script or the quarterback was limited, in games where Ohio State, his impact dipped. 41 yards on 4 touchdowns, on 4 touches against Washington. It illustrates how volume and usage can affect his box score output despite steady route running. His strengths, obviously, advanced route running, his smooth, silky, route running stems from his hip sync, his tempo variation consistently creates separation, particularly into intermediate game where his timing matters most. He's got elite ball skills. He tracks the deep ball with remarkable body control, adjusts midair to off target throws, and wins 50-50 opportunities with strong hands. His yak efficiency after the catch. Tate plays with controlled aggression, breaking arm tackles and maximizing yardage without hesitation. So some of his weaknesses, he's got limited top end speed. He's going to be projected in between 4.5 and the 4.6 range in the 40-yard dash, which isn't elite, and he doesn't consistently take the top off of defenses, which could cap his ceiling. It's going to require some speed here to break open, but we'll see what happens. He's got an underdeveloped strength against physical press coverage. He can be redirected off his route stem without elite functional strength, requiring him refinement at the next level. His route discipline in traffic also, while technically sound, he occasionally drifts into breaks when not the primary read, a subtle flaw that NFL defensive backs, they certainly will exploit. Tate projects as a mid to late first round pick and a high floor, technically polished receiver with immediate NFL readiness. His tape shows a receiver who understands leverage both in man and zone, thrives in timing based offenses, and brings perimeter blocking effort that many prospects do lack at this stage of their development. While his lack of jaw-dropping speed may limit him from being every defense's nightmare, his contested separation, his strong hands, and his ability to get those contested catches makes him a wide receiver one upside in the right system. A quarterback who thrives on timing and progression reads will unlock Tate's full value early in his career, hoping he lands in a spot with a quarterback that can do that for him. Some stats that popped out to me: 183 receiving yards on 9 catches versus Minnesota, 873 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns in 2025, playing against another elite wide receiver in Jeremiah Smith. 11 receptions and 30 plus yards, 6 most in the nation, showing that deep play ability. His career receptions, 36 of 38 games. He's dependable, consistent involvement, big playability versus top competition, 40-yard touchdown versus Texas, 50-yard touchdown versus Michigan. Highlight his ability to impact in those marquee games, a trait that NFL teams are just going to eat up. He's technically elite outside receiver whose route is mastered. His ball tracking and contested catch ability give him immediate NFL value. He's a high floor prospect with polished skills that should translate seamless in pro offense. Tate just doesn't run routes. He redefines them with precision and purpose. And he's currently my wide receiver two behind Makai Lemon. And that may change as I get deeper into the tape, but that's what I got so far. I see Tate having an incredible start to his career, and with the right landing spot, I'm assuming big things will happen for Carnell Tate. Now let's get into the tight end here. And one is, drawing some skepticism about some of his metrics, but let's dig into Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end from Oregon. 6'3, 245 pounds at 20 years old. His journey from a four-star recruit dominating Idaho high school football to one of the most productive tight ends in college football is a story of untapped athleticism, finding opportunity. At Skyline High School, Sadiq posted 62 catches for 1,300 yards and 18 touchdowns as a senior, including an unforgettable 246-yard, 5-touchdown performance that showcased his explosiveness, playmaking ability, and then he arrived at Oregon, contributed modestly as a true freshman, and then steadily carved out a bigger role behind veteran tight ends. And once Oregon's offense began leaning on him more in 2025, he erupted as a receiving threat, leading the Ducks in catches, receiving yards, and touchdowns among tight ends, and earning honors such as the Big Ten Tight End of the Year and the John Mackey Award finalist nod. In his best game of the season, Sadiq posted up 8 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown against Minnesota, proving he can be a focal point in that passing attack. He dominates in the intermediate and red zone coverages with a high football IQ and reliable hands. In another strong outing versus Rutgers, Sadiq caught 4 passes for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns, tying his career high for touchdown catches and helping Oregon blow out a ranked opponent while earning one of the highest PFF grades among tight ends nationally. However, not every week went according to script. In a less impactful game against James Madison, Sadiq held to just under 20 receiving yards in a contest where Oregon's overall passing game took some pressure off him, illustrating how volume game plan can influence his box score despite steady route running and efforts. Across tape, Sadiq consistently shows evolving route nuance, competitive instincts, and the ability to adjust his body to make tough catches in traffic. Explosive athlete with high end speed. He's going to clock in around the 4.55 40-yard dash. That's elite for the position, allowing him to gain separation vertically from linebackers and safeties and threaten them downfield. He's got versatile receiving skill set. He tracks the ball outside his frame with smooth body control and plucks contested throws with confidence, making him a reliable target in clutch moments. Functional blocking ability, while better known as a receiver, Sadiq shows real willingness and technique in run support, engaging defenders and sustaining blocks in space more than many tight ends his size. Although he does have an undersized frame, sitting at just 245 pounds, his lack of mass can limit his effectiveness as an inline blocker against bigger edge defenders and limit his anchor strength. He's got inconsistent route depth development. While he releases and his separation is strong early, Sadiq occasionally sits in zone coverage too long or runs routes that lack nuance at the top level. Limited sample size in a featured role. 2025 is by far his most significant receiving workload, and questions remain about how he handles consistent defensive attention over a full NFL season. And some argue that he may not have been the best tight end on his own team. So, they may be surprised about his draft capital here. He's got that unique blend of size, versatility, and ball skills. Sadiq projects as the top tight end in this 2026 NFL draft, and potentially an early to mid round selection, as his ability to line up in multiple spots, inline slot or outside, gives offenses creative flexibility, and his receiving chops fit perfectly within modern spread and timing based systems. Though teams may want to redefine his blocking and add strength, Sadiq's matchup ability and playmaking traits make him one of the most intriguing multi-role tight ends in recent memory. Like I mentioned earlier, 8 touchdown receptions in 2025, led all FSB tight ends. 40 receptions and 490 yards in 2025, career highs, showing that he can get that expanded role. 8 catches and 96 yards versus Minnesota, his best stat line of his career. 4 catches for 80 yards, 2 touchdowns versus Rucker, earned that top national PFF grade among tight ends. And like I mentioned, the John Mackey Award finalist, Sadiq, is a dynamic multi-role tight end whose athletic catching ability and positional versatility make him one of the most exciting offensive weapons in this NFL class. Sadiq doesn't just find open grass, he turns it into a highlight reel, and I'm looking to see a lot more of that in 2026, especially later in the season when he can maybe carve himself out a role in an offense. And finding out where these guys land is the biggest, factor here, and the biggest teller of future fantasy production. And both these guys have a clear path if they can get in a really good situation where they could be playing right out of the gate. So look for them. Continue to be here. That's a wrap for this episode of the Fantasy Forecast Prospect Watch Reports. And if you're gearing up for your redraft leagues, these 3 prospects are the names you want to watch closely. And in Dynasty, even closer. Carnell Tate offers polish, route running, intermediate mastery with safe, reliable hands, a wide receiver 2 floor with upside in a timing based system. Jeremiyah Love brings that explosive vertical speed and that yak potential, making him a high upside receiver who could flirt with running back 2 numbers. And, with the prowess of both, catching and receiving, I think, and running, I think Jeremiyah Love is going to have an incredible rookie season. And Sadiq is a multi role tight end with rare speed, athleticism, and the ability to mismatch those linebackers. He's capable of delivering a tight end 1 level fantasy value in the right passing attack and system. Remember, in redraft, dynasty formats, opportunity is king. A player's skill set only matter if he's on the field enough to convert targets into points. That's why Tate, Love, Sadiq are on my radar. All 3 combine to immediate NFL readiness with roles that project them to, be contributors in volume from day one. And I'll be back here on FSAN to continue to break down these top prospects, show how they fit into NFL offenses, and provide the insight you need to make smart redraft choices in 2026. No guessing, no fluff, just actionable fantasy intel. Finally, subscribe if you like what you see here, the content, and even if you don't like it anyway, FSAN, hit that bell, hit that notification, bookmark this show, and tune in weekly with Tate, Love, and Sadiq leading the way. Your redraft and dynasty squads can start the season with clear-cut targets that mix opportunity, skill, production-ready potential. Yeah, that's music to my ears. Keep studying the tape, trust the analysis, and lock in your edge only on the Fantasy Forecast, where the rookies become your secret weapon. And I'll be back next week to prospect a couple more, maybe 3 more prospects as we get deep into this NFL fantasy football offseason. So from all of us here on FSAN and the Fantasy Forecast, remember how we always do. We hope you win, folks, and we'll see you next time. Peace.